Hall of Fame is not the goal for Myles Garrett. That's not his goal, but he's going. You're talking about the best defensive player, the best defensive player in a perfect scheme fit. And this is what I'm going to go back to over and over and over again. This is what makes it the most likely of anything. What did Myles Garrett say is the reason why he wants to leave? He wants to play on big stages and for a Super Bowl. Now, this is where the Niners stand out. I know somebody's like, man, we ain't even in the playoffs. Hold on. Trades only work whenever three things align. It's best for the team trading the player away, it's best for the team trading for the player, and it's best for the player themselves. And this is where the trifecta kind of aligns. The 49ers pick 11th in this year's draft. 11th. Listen to the teams that draft ahead of the 49ers. And you tell me which one of these teams, I'm going to get into the salary cap. I'm going to get into what it would cost to sign them. I'm going to get into what it would cost to trade for them. I'm going to get into all of that. We're going to answer as many questions as possible. But I think that this is what's important with why I think the Niners are beyond a very real possibility in this trade. I think they make the most sense. Listen, again, this is holding Myles Garrett to his word that he is leaving for a chance to compete for a title. Now, look at this through the Browns' perspective. If you're going to trade him away, which they're saying they're not going to, and they're not going to entertain him, and they want to keep him, whatever else. But if they were going to trade him away, wouldn't you want the most in return? Well, guess who has kind of the most to offer? The 49ers. First overall pick, Tennessee Titans. Do you think that there is any damn chance that the Tennessee Titans are going to compete for a title with Mayonnaise, Will Levis? They're going to be drafting Abdul Carter. I think that's going to be the first overall pick. Like, no, they're not close to competing for a title. Number 2, Cleveland. That's a team he's running from. That's a team he's trying to get away from. Number 3, New York Giants. Please. No. The Patriots, yeah, they've got some strong foundation, and Vrabel's cool. They are way away. That roster is devoid of talent. Not happening. Jacksonville Jaguars. Come on, man. Really? That dude? I know y'all see the press. Duval. Yeah, that guy? Yeah. That's going to be a championship guy. Shad Khan? Yeah, that's a championship owner. No. Las Vegas Raiders? Good Lord. Really? Not even close. They're picking 6. Not even close. Now, they have Max Crosby. They might be trading him. Great D-line. I get that. Pete Carroll, I understand. But now that is a team that is going to try to push all their chips in. But who the hell is their quarterback? Who's their quarterback? Who are they going to get? It makes a little bit of sense, but if you're trying to compete for titles, Vegas ain't the place to go, man. New York Jets, Woody Johnson, no. Woody Johnson did make the denied a trade request because somebody's Madden rating was too low one time past year. Myles Garrett Madden rating high, but you ain't going to go win championships there. Completely removed. Carolina, no. Quarterback can't ride roller coasters. It's not happening. New Orleans, worst cap space maybe in the past 10, 15 years in the NFL, and they don't have a quarterback. And what's going on in the news now, that ain't going to help. Good Lord. Chicago, 10th pick, might make a little bit of sense, but I still think there's a ways away. Caleb Williams, and Ben Johnson there. I think that's a good pairing, but no. And then you got the 49ers at 11. That just makes way too much damn sense. Out of all those teams, the Niners are the clear front runners for a team that is going to compete. Out of the top 11, it ain't close. It's Niners by a landslide. By a landslide. Why would you go? The Raiders are the only team at 6 where I'm like, makes sense. Pete Carroll, they're trying to win now. They've got a lot of guys there, but man, who the hell's the quarterback? What are they going to do? Like that roster's not ready. It's not. The 49ers is ready. Now, top 11, it's easy. 12th pick in the Dallas Cowboys, who I do not consider a contender at all. I think that they have to be involved in this discussion. If I'm going to be honest, one, because Myles Garrett played high school ball at Arlington Martin, which is less than 5 miles from AT&T Stadium. Like, that's his home. They have a quarterback. Now they haven't even paid Micah Parsons. They're going to trade for Myles Garrett and pay him. While they haven't even paid Micah Parsons, their salary cap's going to be a mess as well. That roster, not good. What's that look like? But I do think the Cowboys are in there. But if we keep going, let's try to find contenders. At 13th, the Dolphins, no. At 14th, the Colts, no. At 15th, the Falcons, no. At 16th, Arizona, no. 17th, Cincinnati, that is a contender. But again, the three parties involved, the team trading for, traded away, and the player. If you're the Cleveland Browns, are you going to trade Myles Garrett to an in-state NFL team? You're going to let them stay in Ohio and take less? The Bengals can't offer what we offer. They can't. They're good. They have the quarterback. They got the roster. They have a great team, but they can't offer the draft capital. 49ers are picking 11th. Their first pick is 17. If you're the Browns, which one do you want? Yeah, that's simple. But you're talking maybe the 49ers at 11, maybe the Cowboys at 12, maybe the Bengals at 17, and then a very distant maybe the Las Vegas Raiders at 6. Those are kind of your possibilities. And man, if I'm trading anybody, I'm trading out of conference every single time. Like if I'm trading out of conference. Well, the Browns, they're in the AFC. Definitely not going to trade them in-state to Cincinnati. I'd prefer not to trade them to any AFC. That's the Raiders. I would prefer to trade them to Dallas or to the 49ers. Those are the top 4 teams. I'm not a Vegas odds guy. I don't know where that is. But if you had to ask me where he's going, those are my top 4 teams because that makes the most sense for the Browns. He wants a Super Bowl. You want the 49ers. No doubt. Man, I get to play next to Nick Bosa. They've already got their offense. It's set. Shanahan, he knows what he's doing. That makes sense. That is there. I think that just makes too much sense for me. And so, like, if you made a Venn diagram of championship, contender status, draft capital, well, that sweet overlap in the middle, it's the 49ers. It's the 49ers. There's not a team that offers more. Now, let's look into the cost of the trade. Then let's look into the salary cap implications and all those things. Here's the thing. The closest comparison that we have to this is definitely the Khalil Mack trade. And shout out to my man, Mr. G 49ers on Twitter. I was writing this stuff up, and sure enough, he DMs me and messages me what I just wrote. But man, great minds think alike, my friend. You look at Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack got traded. He was 27, 2 years younger, 2 full years younger than 29-year-old Myles Garrett. Now, Myles Garrett has accomplished more than Khalil Mack did, right? But here's where it's different. Okay, this is what the trade was for Khalil Mack. 2 first-rounders, a third, and a sixth. But people always leave out the second half of this trade because the Bears gave up a second-rounder and a seventh. The seventh doesn't really matter, but a second-rounder. So you gave up 2 firsts, a third, and a sixth, and you got back a second, Khalil Mack, and a seventh. And also what complicates this trade even more, the trade happened in September. This was not a pre-draft trade. This was I ain't going to play for you. And a big reason why the new CBA happened was because of Khalil Mack. It kind of eliminated this fact that, man, I ain't going to play for you. I'm holding out. You can't do that anymore in today's NFL. You can't do that. So the trade is a little bit different. The Raiders, whenever they traded away Khalil Mack, they had nowhere to turn. And so then it became a bidding war, and the 49ers were involved in that trade. We tried to get Khalil Mack, and they went with the Bears because they thought our draft pick would be too high. It was the second-round pick, by the way. Would have been Nick Bosa, but whatever. I don't think because of the contract, so this is a little caveat that we're going to circle back to. The contract makes it harder to trade Myles Garrett, in my opinion, because you're going to have to pay top-tier money to get him. Now, I'm going to go back to the contract talk, okay? I think you can get Myles Garrett for less because this trade takes place before the draft. You remember when the Raiders traded away Khalil Mack, they got nothing for that entire season. Nothing. They had to wait an entire season till they got to use the draft capital that they got. This happens if this trade happens with Myles Garrett, it's going to take place before the draft. It's going to take place before free agency. And so both teams are going to be able to know. So that's why one of the reasons why, and two, he's a little bit older. I don't think it's going to cost 2 firsts. I really, really don't. I think first round plus with perhaps a player. In my own personal opinion, a first, a second, and like a fourth round pick. That's going to be the conversation of where this is going to go. Because now you might be able to get 2 firsts from some other teams, but these are teams picking in the back 20s. If you want a top 10 pick that is a championship contender, there's one. And it's the 49ers, they pick 11. Yeah, so like the Browns might be like, dude, we're sending you to the Patriots. What's Khalil Mack going to say? No, you're not. No, you're not. He's going to do the Brandon Ayuk. I ain't going to Cleveland. I ain't going there. I ain't going there. I'm going to Pittsburgh. Like Myles Garrett has already, and the fans, I don't know if you're on social media, all the Browns fans are siding with Myles Garrett over this. They know the Cleveland Browns are a terrible, terrible, terrible organization. They understand that. And so I don't think it's going to be super pricey to get him. Now, a first and a second round is pricey, extra. But again, you look at those teams, there's not there. Now, you could include a player. The NFL doesn't do player for player trades very often. Doesn't mean it can't happen. It's not like the stupid ass Mavericks. I'm a Mavericks guy. Stupid, just idiots. And I appreciate everybody messaging me and whatever. I'm so pissed about that trade anyway. But this does go to say there are terrible GMs and terrible run franchises out there. And you can take advantage of them. And the 49ers definitely should be interested in trying to do that. What I would do if I was the general manager of the 49ers, which thankfully to all of you, I am not, and I should not be. I'm not qualified. I would call them and say, hey, I'm interested. Here's what my offer would be. Okay. I would give them this year's first, next year's second. Okay. So I'm giving up the 11th pick, next year's second rounder, this year's fourth round pick, the 112, and next year's fourth round pick. So I'm going to give first, fourth this year, second, fourth the following year. That would be my offer. Would I go higher than that? I'm not giving a first and second round this year. I'm not. I'm going to space it out. The 49ers are a very top-heavy roster. I'm not throwing total drafts away. I'm not losing a first and second round pick. And I know Myles Garrett is probably worth it, but I'm going to say, look, man, if I give you all the picks this year and you miss on them, everybody's going to crucify you. Let's spread this out. That protects you with your fans, and you can spread out what you're getting back. You got that Deshaun Watson contract anyway. You don't want all the resources right now. You should want future picks. And if I was the 49ers, I'd say, look, man, shoot, I'll give you our one next year and our second round. Like, I would be having these types of conversations. Dude, that draft next year is going to be way better quarterbacks. You're going to need one. Deshaun Watson's not the answer. You need more draft capital next year. Let us give you our second round pick. Like these are the conversations that have to happen. I'll give you the 43 this year, and you can have our first and third round next year. How about that? You get those future picks. You get something this year to kind of placate the fans, and that's a top 50 pick. That's great. You're already picking 2. Because right now, Cleveland's got a lot of draft capital. I mean, they're actually not doing too bad. They've got the second overall pick, the 33rd overall pick, the 67th overall pick. Say, hey, man, we'll give you a second this year, and you get our first and third next year for that awesome quarterback class. You can go get Arch Manning. He might be coming out. Those are the conversations that need to be happening. Hey, man, we can do that now. And that is where if the Browns are, man, we really want stuff for next year, that is where other teams will trump the 49ers. Because our draft capital next year is not expected to be that high. So other teams might have more to offer. But again, the offset to that, the nuance to this trade, Myles Garrett wants to go play for a contender. What contender is going to have a bad pick next year? No, none of them, right? That's what you have to kind of look at. So would I do this year's first rounder and next year's first rounder if it took me Myles Garrett? I would want third round picks back. That's just where I stand on that. And so, what is it that Cleveland wants? They don't want to trade him. They've come out and said, we want to keep him. We want to keep him. We want to keep him. And I understand that. And they built the contract to kind of ensure and protect that. Yeah, let's look at the contract. Okay. Only 2 years left on the current deal, but it's got 5 void years. One, two, three, four, fifth, 5 void years on Myles Garrett's deal. They have gone through and restructured, and it's a very relatively team-friendly deal. He's like 5th on average per year, restructured his deal to help the team so they could get Deshaun Watson. How'd that pan out? Yeah, it didn't work out.